Meantime, Benjamin Netanyahu's hardline stance on Iran isn't winning him much support at home. His refusal to budge has sparked angry reactions in Israel's media. Let's take a look. Some commentators suggest his harsh words were prompted by a sense of personal failure in the international arena. They said he was behaving badly in the international arena. The liberal Haaretz newspaper questioned the Prime Minister's diplomacy as well, calling it an in-your-face bellyache. More perspective on this now from Caleb Maupin, an activist from the International Action Centre. He joins us live from New York. Hi there, Caleb. Netanyahu seemed desperate to prevent this deal from materialising, yet an agreement was reached. What's his next step now, then, do you think?
Well, what we're seeing is Israel playing the role it's always played. Israel was created in 1948 after the Second World War, when many countries throughout the Middle East were establishing national liberation and independence, independent economic development. And at that time, Israel was created as an outpost of Western colonialism and imperialism to prevent countries in the Middle East from establishing their independence. And so their hostility toward Iran is based on the fact that Iran has set out, since 1979, since its heroic revolution, has set out on a course of independent economic development, not relying on the Western bankers and imperialists, but really a path of self-reliance, serving the people of Iran, not the bankers on Wall Street. And that's the path that they've played. And this hostility, this fear-mongering from Iran, this fear-mongering from Russia, or from Israel, this is disgusting. I mean, Iran has made clear they have no desire to develop nuclear weapons whatsoever. They have no desire to develop nuclear weapons. But yet this fear-mongering, this talk of, this words coming out of Netanyahu, they're very frightening. And it shows that unlike the people of the world, the Israeli government is not committed to peace.
Well, with relations between Obama and Netanyahu so strained now, how much an uphill struggle is Netanyahu going to have trying to convince Washington not to endorse some sort of deal in 6 months' time, do you think?
Well, the people of the world want peace. They want cooperation between countries. They don't want hostility and war. And if Netanyahu continues to be committed to this aggression, to this hostility, he's only going to be further isolated around the world, because what he wants is diametrically opposed to what the people of the world are striving for at this time.
Of course, the flip side to this is Washington going to lose some of its grip, some of its power when it comes to Israeli-Palestinian negotiations and matters in the future, do you think?
Well, the Israeli government has always represented the most right-wing sections of Western finance capital, of bankers and imperialists, and they will continue to do that. And while we're seeing maybe, while Netanyahu has been making these statements, he works for the West, he works for the imperialists, and he will always continue to do that. That's what the role the Israeli government has always played. It is an outpost of Western colonialism, attacking the people of the Middle East, and that's the role it plays. And it sees Iran as a threat because of Iran's independence, its independent economic development, its refusal to follow the orders of the Western imperialists.
All right, back to the Iran question. Netanyahu said Israel will, quote, defend itself with its own forces. What does he mean by that? Is it actually capable of attacking Iran in a meaningful way?
Well, I mean, these words coming from Netanyahu are disgusting. I mean, it really flows from the fact the Israeli state, I mean, it bases itself on the racist ideology of Zionism, which views the people of the Middle East, the Arab peoples, as subhuman. I mean, this is outrageous. When Israel has stockpiles of nuclear weapons, yet they're afraid of Iran developing peaceful nuclear energy. I mean, this hypocrisy that flows through everything is really disgusting, and it really shows the nature of the Israeli regime.
And how's it going to affect its relations with the rest of the world? The greater it digs its heels in, I suppose, the greater annoyance it's going to cause to other members of the world around the world, yeah? Especially, of course, if you're thinking of Egypt, Sinai Peninsula, war-torn Syria, Islamist militants, talking about Egypt's Sinai Peninsula there. It's got a lot of enemies. I suppose it's going to get more, yeah?
Well, there are a whole network of countries all around the world with different religions, different ideologies, different economic systems, but they're all pulling together to oppose the will of Wall Street and the domination by the financial centers in London, and oppose the will of the Western bankers and the imperialists. And whether it's China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, these countries are coming together and standing against the power of Western banking financial institutions, standing against imperialism. And this is a development that is very much a threat to the old order of power power where a few super rich countries dominate the world. Things are changing, and I think the fact that these negotiations are going on, the fact that a deal has been reached is a positive sign. It shows that the old way of doing things is changing, and that the world is being reset up in a way.
Caleb, while you're on the line, just 15 seconds, your personal thoughts about this deal, this Iranian deal?
Well, I think it's a step in the right direction. It shows the people of the world want peace, they want negotiation, they want trade between countries, they want equality, and if Israel is opposed, that shows what Israel's really all about.
Caleb Maupin, activist from the International Action Centre, thank you in New York there.